Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Sean, and yeah, back with another video. I was scrolling through Reddit and I saw a post, I saw a great post on r slash dtrans that was basically going about the trends I've noticed in D-trans females from all the interviews I've listened to. This person in the post, as you will see, put down about eight things that they kind of caught on to when it comes to the trans females and the things that they had issues with or what kind of led them to transitioning. So I decided to use write them down and go over them and see if do I relate to them too. Put my little 2 cents in it. Number one, they have some sort of sexual trauma in the past before coming out. For me, definitely, I would say things that happened in my past, especially in my childhood and teenage years, that kind of led me to at least led me to the discomfort of my body. Because I can't remember specifically before those events happening, you ever having any strong feelings about my body either way. But then puberty happened and things started changing. And I guess for me, that trauma that I went through as a kid kind of played in a part of how I viewed my body. I mean, even just like being sexualized as a teenager, because my body was growing, my boobs were growing, my hips and all of that were growing at a very, very young age. There was a lot of that going on, and I didn't like it. And I feel like, for the most part, that kind of led me towards, questioning things like, why do I hate my body? How do I get rid of my boobs? Typing in Google, like, how do I get rid of my boobs? I mean, my chest was a very, very, this very like obvious thing that I had issues with, and feeling like they were in probably the target to they were basically the target of what I went through. Basically, like my chest area was basically goggled at by older men and touched and all of that and all of those things. So like it kind of led me to having a disdain for them, if you will. So when I was in ninth grade, looking up like how do I get rid of my boobs, naturally I found, stories of transgendered, transsexual men who got their, boobs removed. And that kind of led me to like, oh, is that why? Is that why I don't like my boobs? It gave me an answer because like before, I would ask, my parents like, why do I hate my boobs? Everyone around me seems to love having them. And I didn't put two and two together like, oh, because of this happening, being sexualized and being traumatized and being touched and fondled in those areas when you're just a kid, when I'm just a kid, that's the reason, why I hate them. But I didn't, I guess I didn't have I kind of just kind of led me to like, oh, I must want to transition, and how great it'll be if I get to, remove them. Number two, they always seem to miss their female singing voice once it drops, but continue to push past these feelings. I don't know too much about that. One, because I don't sing. um, and that was never something that like I focused on. If anything, I wanted my voice to get deeper, but it really didn't. Number three, they later find out there's some sort of neurodivergence, usually autism. Definitely true for me as someone who is on the spectrum. And also, I recently saw an article saying that transgender people are 3 to 6 times more likely to be autistic. Um, but why though? Like, why is neurodivergence and gender identity so closely related? And then I tried to apply it to my own, experiences. And I mean, as a kid, when I started to learn about, I feel like transgender in general became some sort of like hyperfixation, if that makes sense. Because I remember I used to day out, like 24/7. As soon as I can get home from school, even if I was in school, I would do research about it. I would read all the blogs about it, read about 10 or 15 times the same blog, the same article. I watched the same videos. I remember the only videos I had access to, because this was before like YouTube. I mean, YouTube was a thing, but like, and there were a few trans identified females' voices on there. But I would watch those videos religiously. Um, it just became, it just consumed me. It kind of was just like how I feel about my other hyperfixations and little special interests, if you will, that played a role in it. The more I read about it, the more I saw myself in it. I don't know. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be. I could be. I don't know. Like, if there's anyone watching this that could, like, that has their theories on why autistic people usually have issues with gender identity, or why that's a more of a phenomenon now. I can see why it's a more of a thing now, because I think more people are getting diagnosed with autism, and also, gender identity thing is trans shit. It's gone through the roof in the past like 5-10 years. So I don't know, but that is interesting. But for me, I mean, yeah, I am autistic, so it's just like I don't, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. It is true. Number three is true. It does apply to me, but I just don't. I dead ass don't know why. Four, not always, but they tend to be completely straight or full on masculine lesbians. I couldn't say that. Technically, technically, I am bisexual, but I could kind of see where they're coming from. I mean, I don't. I feel like, I don't know if this is gonna make any sense, but I feel like another reason why that kind of pushed me towards transitioning, because I was kind of told, like, if you are a trans man, you are a man, so you can date other men. You're just like any other gay cis. I hate using the word, but stay with me. Gay men or bisexual men, you're just the same as them. So it kind of gave me an excuse to be comfortable dating men while being masked. Because, like, for me, when I wanted to date guys, I always was attracted to guys, but I knew, like, I was such a tomboy. I was a masked woman or girl or whatever. So, like, seeing me, like, for me, I always wanted to dress comfortably and dress how I am, but also have a boyfriend. But then, society, boys, basically, I just felt like, as a if I identified as male, I could be a gay male, and I could be in gay male relationships, and it gave me permission, basically, to be masculine and still date men without having to conform to femininity, or walking down the aisle in a dress. I'll walk down the aisle in a tuxedo or some shit like that. But it makes sense in my head, and there's probably other probably other either these trans women or trans identified females who kind of transition for some similar reason get what I'm talking about. But hopefully you guys get what I'm talking about. So number five was tend to have suicidal issues or self harm issues that were left unaddressed during the transition, basically. And for me, that was definitely the case. I mean, since I was 8, I've dealt with, like, self issues. I mean, body issues, self harming. I did plenty of that in different ways. And I just always felt ugly. I always felt ugly. I hated looking at myself in the mirror. I hate looking at myself in pictures. I would see my chest just bulging out. I hated the clothes that I was wearing. But even when I did tend to wear masculine clothes, I would still, see my breasts. And that shit just never. I just remember just wanting to tear into my skin, like, a sentiment that has been with me even throughout transition, has always been, I just wish I could just tear into my skin. And I hope that's not too graphic or anything, but, like, I just wish I could just rip it all away and just throw it in the garbage. And yeah, transition. And I felt like at the time when I was 16, 17, just waiting to turn 18 so I could transition. Transitioning became this kind of sort of like light at the end of the tunnel. And I just felt like I just harbored on that for it to save me, and never, never really did. Maybe gave me temporary happiness, but, like, number six, have some sort of trans friend or friends or online spaces. Yeah, for me, definitely. This is probably definitely true nowadays with all types of social media. But even when I was young, we only had Facebook and MySpace, LiveJournal. If anybody even remembers that, But yeah, I remember the first trans friend I ever had. And the name that they chosen was like Adrian, and they were a trans identified female. They were like my age too, but their parents let them transition, and I thought at the time I thought it was like so cool. I was like, "Yo, your parents are so cool. I wish my parents were," you know. But yeah, I was. I mean, I was on Facebook, and when I had friends with all types of trans-identified females of every race, sexuality, older than me. There were some that were like 30, 40, 50, just transitioning for the first time. And I remember like they they were embracing me, and I was this like weird black autistic girl, teenage girl who I tried to have friends. I've been trying to have friends my entire life. And I was either bullied or just left alone, or people just looking at me like, why are you talking to me? So to finally be in a space where like people are like listening to you, and even relating to you, because we all hated our bodies, we all wanted to change um things about it, ask certain aspects about it, and yeah, fuck it ultimately led me to want to transition even more, especially when they would tell me like basically they would tell me like, if your real family abandons you because you decided to transition and you decided to go down this path, we'll be your chosen family. And that meant a lot to me because I was scared. I was scared. Like, if I do this shit, like, I'm probably can't talk to my parents ever again. I can't talk to any of my family members ever again. I felt kind of strange. And I low key kind of see why people say, like, the whole trans ideology movement is some sort of cult, because in a way, you're kind of doing things that would, get you ostracized even more from your family, because, they dare misgender you. They dare not acknowledge that their daughter is now a son and type shit. So now it's like all you have is your trans family. Number 7, sometimes dressing more stereotypically feminine after taking HRT. Um, I wouldn't say this applies to me, but I low key started wearing pink more once I started passing as male. Um, but definitely I wasn't like wearing dresses and shit. I felt like I was running away from that by transitioning. But I've seen some trans identified females who, they still have long hair. They still wear, some of them wear makeup. Some of them wore dresses and stuff. Because if I do something that's stereotypically what a woman would do, it's like people look at that and be like, "Oh, obviously you're doing this because you're a woman." But if I do it as a male or as passing as male, wearing these pink shirts and stuff and wearing like Hello Kitty, um, will be more like, "Oh, he's male, but he's being adventurous." I don't know. Pretty sure like there's a more feminist definition of why that happens and why I got more comfortable wearing pink and painting my nails as a dude than not doing that when I was identifying as woman or whatever the fuck. But I feel like it's just socialization. I just don't have like words to like put it together to make it sound intelligent. I'm definitely not about to do. But anyone in the comments or anybody out there watching can just tell me in the comments if you know what the fuck I'm talking about. All right, and the last one, they sometimes don't have dysphoria about their genitals at all. Honestly, I mean, besides my boobs, but like I didn't really hate my vagina. Really, I mean, I knew I didn't like being penetrated, but obviously that had to do with number one on the list. But I don't think I never really necessarily hated my genitals, hated my boobies. I could throw them away. You can have them. But I never really had any issues with my. I didn't even want to get bottom surgery. Honestly, I thought I was just gonna be like Buck Angel or some shit. but um, but yeah, I never had any genital dysphoria. There were times where I felt like I kind of felt pressured to have some sort of genital dysphoria because I would try packing, but it was too hot. I mean, it made my lower region hot. um, I tried packing. I don't even use like even during like for sex. Like I don't even use strap like that. Like sometimes if you're feeling Me and my girlfriend are feeling extra spicy, but yeah, I never really had genital dysphoria. No, and I didn't give a fuck. Um, that didn't really bother me. If anything, I felt neutral, and even to this day, I kind of feel neutral about having what I have down there. It's just like it's okay. But if anything, I just wanted to cut off my boobs. Like if I were to like fully transition, if I was still on that path, I would have just gone top surgery and just would have called it a day. But yeah, that's just me though. But yeah, that was all the pinpoints. I'll share some of the answers that some people left on that Reddit post replying to OP. But that was just my 2 cents. I'll leave the link down below if you want to look at it or comment yourself. I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to. I thought it would be a good video idea, and I just thought I'll share my thoughts with you, since I feel like a lot of you guys do like hearing about my detransition and things of that nature, and I'm happy to oblige. But if you do have a TikTok, apparently it's bad. I don't know. Follow me on there. Same as my YouTube name. I'll put the link in the description. And yeah, find me on there. And yeah, I think that's it. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.